Facilities meeting to order today, the 22nd at 9:01. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting?
Right now.
Okay, motion by Ms. Hogan,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. Bruno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good. We're going to go right into the airport agenda because I've asked Mr. Harrison Freer to join us and so forth. I appreciate you getting on, Harrison. Thank you. We're going to go right into the airport agenda, and it's fairly detailed today. So let's see here. Why don't we go into right to Mr. Don DeGraw, and let's start rolling right with you, Don.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm going to take you to number 5 on the resolution request. This has to do with Harrison Freer's request for a new contract. Harrison's been performing flight instruction out here at the airport. We want to enter into a formal agreement with him for a limited service FBO for him to continue the flight training that he's been providing out here. This will provide the airport with a small amount of revenue and also ensure that Harrison maintains his insurance and whatnot appropriately to ensure the county is covered in case there's an incident. Currently, the contract before you is for $350 a year annually to the county that Harrison would provide with 3% increases for the term of the contract. I'll turn it back over to you for discussion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. DeGraw. Okay, do I have a motion, first of all, to bring this contract to the floor?
I'll move that.
Moved by Mr. Bruno, second by, is that you, Mr. McGowan?
It sure is. Thank you.
Okay, in your splendid glory. Okay. Okay, discussion. Miss Hogan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this an exclusive contract?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Other discussion. Is this, I have a question, Mr. DeGraw. Is this, I have no idea on whether this is low, high, good, bad. I just don't know. So, where did we come up with $350?
Well, Harrison and I had a discussion about this. My initial thought was a higher number. His was a lower number, and we kind of settled on $350. Harrison, doesn't really make a whole lot of money doing this. There's a lot of cost that he has for overhead. So, I'll turn it over to Harrison. He can kind of explain a little more about the pricing structure that he has, the number of clients and whatnot. But my main concern here is that we cover our administrative expenses and that the county is covered with liability and we have a contract in place. So those are my main concerns. I mean, if Harrison was a much bigger operation with a substantial revenue flow, I'd certainly be wanting to get more of that. But that really isn't the case. Harrison, you want to say a few words?
You're muted.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
So, as many of you know, I'm really semi-retired. I do this very part-time. I own the only light sport aircraft, which is a small two-seater that allows people to get a light sport pilot license, which is the entry-level pilot license. Most of my students are private pilot license, and so they have a few more privileges than a light sport pilot. The airplane is a brand new Pipistrel 2019 Alpha Trainer. I also am part-time representative for Pipistrel. So I have the aircraft so that I can demonstrate anybody who wanted to buy one. I bought a new one. I operated a 2015 Pipistrel for 5 years at the airport, and I do have the proper, insurance, which is instructor and rental. So it's one of the few airplanes that you can rent anywhere around. It's the only light sport airplane anywhere around this area. And that insurance is my largest cost, and it's about 4.5 times what it would be if it was just me flying the airplane for demonstration and private or business use. So because as part of both the light sport license and the private pilot license, students have to go up solo and they have to do a variety of activities in order to get the experience to even test for their license. My insurance is on the Pipistrel is upwards of $5,000, and that is my biggest cost. My second biggest cost is the hangar, which is $340 a month that you guys now get, thankfully, because I think you did a much better job of negotiating that contract. The other thing about the Pipistrel is it's the most environmentally friendly airplane in the area. In that some of you may have seen that most aviation fuel still has lead in it. It's low lead. They've been trying to figure that out for many years, how to get to no lead fuel, but they haven't quite made it in most of the older airplanes. This airplane, I am able to and do use no lead fuel and burn about 3 gallons an hour to train people to fly. So it's very economical. Pipistrel also has an electric airplane, similarly, that doesn't use any carbon fuel. And as soon as they figure out how to get a heater that works, I'll probably buy one of those and train people in an electric airplane.
Thank you, Harrison. Any other questions, Mr. Conover? Mr. Conover?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don, it says here a 3% annual increase for the life of the contract. What is the life of the contract?
It's a year-to-year contract until one of either Harrison or us cancel it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Don, or Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. McGowan?
Thank you. Yeah, Don, do we, isn't there another teaching there, Leaf Air?
Yes, Leaf Air operates under the Rich Air umbrella. So we have 2 different flight instructors out here currently, Harrison and Rich Air.
Okay, thank you very much.
Don, what's the contract with Leaf Air? Is that?
It's totally the Rich Air lease that we have requires them to provide flight instruction. They provide that through Leaf Air. So it's wrapped into the Rich Air lease.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
My only other question is Kevin's changed his look. Should I be worried about that?
Kevin's what? Okay. Yes, is the short answer.
I think it's an improvement.
It's much improved. So, any other questions? Seeing and hearing none, I will call the question. We have a motion and a second to accept the contract. I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Mr. Freer, welcome aboard.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I'm going to
Harrison.
sign off if that's okay.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thanks, Harrison. Appreciate it.
Okay. Adios.
Okay. Okay, Don, I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to turn it back over to you. And the agenda, that was number 5 on the agenda, so you can cross that off now. And we'll go right to number 1. Go ahead.
All right, very good. So over the past several weeks, we've executed 2 grants with the FAA. One was the construction grant for the new SRE building, which I'm very happy to get. And the other one was a design grant for LED airfield taxiway lighting. So that's what these 4 resolutions are related to. The first 2 are related to the SRE building. Number 1 is to establish a capital project for that. Now that is a 100% FAA grant from the CARES Act. However, we do have the ineligible piece of that, which is the bathroom, for $33,860. So that is the capital project request.
Okay, so are you suggesting that we combine 1 and 2?
No, I'm just giving you 1 right now.
Okay, sorry, okay. So do I have a motion, anyone want to bring this to the floor? Motion by Mr. Conover, second by Mr. Bruno.
I'll second that.
Okay, Ms. Seaver, well, Mr. Bruno jumped in there quicker, thank you. Okay, discussion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. McGowan.
You know, when we first brought this up and talked about it, I'm still, I'm trying to justify, you know, a $34,000 bathroom, why it's so expensive. I mean, we're not putting granite countertops in there and gold-plated handles, are we?
No, it's a very basic bathroom. You know, when we go out with the FAA and do this, there are a lot of DBE requirements and so on and so forth that kind of play into it. And this is where the bidding came out for it. A bathroom, you know, not that I have to tell anybody this, but this is going to be our primary maintenance facility out there, and it's got to have a bathroom. It's going to be there for the next 100 years. So I realize the price is high. I agree with you. It's a very basic bathroom with no frills at all, but that's where it came out in the bid.
And who are we awarding that bid to?
The general contractor is Plank, and then we have 3 other contractors for the electric and mechanical, and 1 more, electric, mechanical, and something else.
Mr. Hajos, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I do. Brad, besides what Don just said about the DBE goals and such, we're also paying prevailing wage rate. And that typically will, you know, as you are aware as a contractor, I mean, you're doubling your cost with having to pay prevailing wage.
Oh, no, and I understand that, and that, you know, but I'm thinking a toilet and a sink and some plumbing, and the electrical is covered by the electrician, and the walls are covered by the, you know, the construction. So it's basically, we're just talking fixtures and some plumbing pipes, and I mean, $34,000. I mean, I know bathrooms can be expensive. I've done enough of them in homes, but you know, I'm going on your judgment. Well, I just needed to question. It just seems quite elaborate for a bathroom, and I hope it's there for actually 200 years. So.
Yeah, Amanda.
Mr. Diamond would like to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Diamond. You have the floor.
Chairman, I have to agree with Brad on this particular issue. $33,000 to $34,000 for a bathroom seems a little bit ridiculous, even though it's prevailing wage. Has the county considered doing this themselves? Don't we have plumbers on staff that we could put a toilet and a sink in and do the plumbing ourselves and save ourselves $34,000?
Mr. Hajos?
Yeah, I do have, Mr. Diamond, Supervisor Diamond, I do have a plumber on staff. I have a couple people that could do the work. The issue of us doing that is we have much more work to do around this county. If I have to kind of work around the contractor schedule and then I'm holding him up doing something, that becomes an issue. Again, I do think it's expensive. We do have this, 100% of this project is being paid for by FAA except for the bathroom, which we have in our airport reserve to be able to pay that cost. But again, it comes down to prevailing wage rate you, I know, had federal projects within the city of Glens Falls. They double in cost because they're a federal project and they're in the requirements to go behind.
Could we reconsider and rebid this out because of the high costs associated with it?
Don, this is a second rebid for this, correct?
Yeah, this is the second rebid, and we've awarded this.
Oh.
This is the last piece of the puzzle, the financial piece of it, but this has already been approved and moved through.
Any other discussion on this? Yes, Mr. Bruno?
I agree with Supervisor Diamond and Supervisor McGowan. This is exorbitant for a bathroom, even at, you know, prevailing wage rates notwithstanding. I mean, I'm doing a project now that is prevailing wage rates, 2,500 square foot building. It's an office building. The men's and ladies room in there, and the whole plumbing contract isn't much more than what this bathroom comes in at. You know, there may be nothing we can do about it now since we've already signed the contract, it sounds like, but that is exorbitant in my book. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Moore, is there recourse? It's been awarded, but it hasn't been. We haven't allotted the financing.
From the FAA's point of view, I would have to ask Don that question. Don, what would, if we wanted to do a plan B, change, you know, pull the plug? Let's say the vendor went out of business, and nobody else was on the list. What would we do?
I don't know. I've never experienced that before. I mean, we're at the point now where this is a formality of just establishing the capital project. We've already awarded it. We have a 100% FAA grant. It just happens this one item is ineligible. This is a $2.2 million grant. If we were going through the normal situation, we'd be looking at well over $100,000 local share. So if we were going to pull this bathroom project out of it, it should have been done earlier, not now.
I don't think it's reasonable for the FAA to have a government in a position where they essentially don't have a choice.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yeah. Hang on, Rachel. Thank you. Go ahead, Ryan. What was your question?
Well, my point was, how is it reasonable that the FAA doesn't give this board a choice?
When you say give the board a choice, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
But this piece of the puzzle is coming to the board for approval, and what if the board doesn't approve it? The answer seems to be that the FAA is giving us no other choice. No, not at all. I mean, the board. We're talking about the bathroom specifically, right? Or the grant. The bathroom. That's the issue here. Is a $34,000 bathroom. Right. The board has already approved the bathroom. The FAA doesn't care about the bathroom. The FAA is just not going to pay for the bathroom. I guess if we want to pull the bathroom out and not have a bathroom in a building we're going to have for 100 years, we might be able to do that with the contractor and just tell them we're not going to have a bathroom. But I think that would be very short-sighted.
Okay, Mr. Bruno, then Ms. Sieber.
Is this a separate men's and women's room or a unisex bathroom? What? No,
it's just a very simple. We made it the simplest, least expensive bathroom we could find. In fact, they only really have to build 3 walls because the one wall's already in place.
Right. So it's a single bathroom. It's not a separate men's room, ladies' room.
Right. It's just 3 walls added onto an existing interior wall, a toilet and a sink, the associated lighting that goes with that, and that's it.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Sieber?
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I apologize. My video is not on. I'll be getting to the boardroom shortly. So I jumped in front of whomever, and my apologies. I just wondered, certainly buildings are remodeled and things are added on later. I just heard, I believe it was Mr. McGraw say, you know, if we want to build a building and not have a bathroom in it for the next 100 years, isn't there a way that perhaps down the road when our engineers do free up, Kevin, we could have that work done at a much lower cost or in-house and then still be able to find a different type of in-kind grant? This has been talked about for a while, so I guess I'm unclear why it's on the agenda now if it has been already approved by the board. But I recall Mr. McGowan voicing grave concern about this bathroom since I believe since it's been in front of him. So I'm all for another option.
Mr. Hajos wanted to add something. Mr. Hajos?
I just want to add, I think, and Don, is there any other plumbing involved with this SRE building or no? Is the only plumbing associated with the bathroom? Is there plumbing with fire sprinklers or anything else like that that we're using a plumber for?
Yeah, there's water in the building. There's an eye wash station in the building. There's other plumbing in the building.
So I guess what I would propose is that we either take it out of the contract or we reduce the contract with the plumber such that they only run the piping, which would be anything that we need to get to the sewer in, and leave it, and then we install the rest ourselves in-house. I just will say it would take us a little bit of time because this was not on our radar to be able to do something like this. So I think we could do it in the house. Now the walls that are associated with, you say those other 3 walls, those are in fact putting up by the general contractor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's being missed here is, and Supervisor McGowan, I will say it's not just a toilet and a sink in there. Everything associated with the bathroom, whether it's electrical, whether it's walls, whether it's tile, whether it's the toilet, those aren't broken out to the general contractor. That's all part of it. So under the bathroom, the general contractor has a piece. Under the bathroom, the electrical contractor has a piece. So this isn't the plumber just doing a bathroom for $34,000.
Yeah, exactly. Every got a piece in this.
Contractor doing it. This is the general contractor doing it. They all have a piece of that bathroom. The only issue to us is that FAA will not pay for any part of the bathroom whatsoever. Whether you put in the extra walls, the toilet, the tile, the electrical, they won't pay for any of that. So it's not just a plumber putting this bathroom in. There's other associated costs with it, which is
right. We have Plank, the general contractor. He's got $12,300 in it. LaCourte, I believe, is the electric. There's $2,200 in electric. McElliott is $6,800 and CNL is $12,500. One of them's a plumber, one of them's mechanical. So nobody in and of themselves has the 2 highest ones are Plank and CNL, which have $12,000 in it, and then electric at $2,200 and McElliott at $6,800.
So again, that's where the cost breaks down. It's not just a plumber doing $34,000 worth in the bathroom.
Right, and I also believe that, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure that we can't get a certificate of occupancy without a bathroom in it. So they're going to pour concrete floors. They're going to have all the plumbing run under the concrete. I mean, we want to do this. We want to do this all at the same time, so we don't have a problem. We're gonna end up, if we try to do cheap out on this, we're gonna end up spending more money than if we just went ahead and did it.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes. So this is tying it into the sewer. So that's something, I mean, I'm just saying it just seems a lot, you know, but I mean, I didn't see everything that was going into it. I mean, we don't have a shower, but we are talking tile, you know, framing up the 3 walls. I think it's exorbitant, but you know, we're into it, and I have to agree with Mr. Hajos here and Don. You know, this is not the time to discuss. I just wanted to come out and say once again that I said in committee it seemed a little exorbitant, and it's my fault for not going in and looking in, you know, further to see every screw and nut and bolt that was going to be involved in this. But I mean, the more I sit there and think about it, and everything involved with the prorate, it just seems exorbitant. But I don't want to hold up the process, and since it is in Queensbury, I can rest assure you that we will not get a CO without a bathroom. So I don't have a problem approving this and moving forward. I just wanted to avoid saying that, you know, it's just exorbitant, and maybe I'm just in the wrong business.
I did like Mr. Hajo's coming up with somewhat of a compromise position. And Mr. Hajo's, if you did the plumbing or whatever, your team, what type of cost savings would that incur?
I can't give you that number right now. I mean, I'm thinking out loud is, you know, we would still have, I think, the general contractor put in the walls and the work associated with that. So as Don said, that's about $12,000. Our plumber's in there to do extra work, whether it comes to the eye wash station or sprinkler system, whatever it may be. So he can run it. I mean, the savings, basically the savings is going to be finishing the bathroom, which would be, you know, kind of your tile work, you're installing the sink because the pipes are already going to be there, and installing the toilet because the piping is already going to be there. Electrical, again, I think I would just let the electrical contractor do the work. He's going to put a light and a fan in the bathroom, which it requires, and a switch. He's not going to do much more than that. So I think
GFI outlet.
Yeah, I mean, you may save if Don said there's a cost of $12,000. You may save $5,000 or $6,000 of that $12,000 for the plumber and for everything associated with the bathroom.
Okay, Mr. Bruno.
Once again, where's the funding for this coming from? I heard it early on, but
this would come from the airport reserve. The $2 million or $2.2 million, whatever Don had said, that's coming from the FAA grant. That's 100%, and then the remainder of the money would come from the airport reserve, which Betsy, you're on. I don't know if you know offhand. I believe the airport reserve had somewhere in the vicinity of $170,000, give or take.
Thank you, Kevin.
Any other discussion?
It does. It says 170.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes.
It's Frank Morehouse, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to throw in. I don't know anything about this project, but the bulk of the money, I would say, is in site work and prep to get the piping into the building. And that's, if my guys are going to finish it, it's very important that all of that gets done before the project. You know, I mean, we're talking cast iron waste lines and bringing the plumbing up through the slab, bringing the wiring in. I don't think your savings is going to be really that much if my guys do it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Thank you, Mr. Morehouse. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. We have a second on the floor to approve getting the financing. I guess I'll call the question now. All in favor of approving this, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Hearing none, let's go to the next item on the agenda.
All right, thank you, everybody. The next item is related to the SRE building construction. This is the engineering services contract for construction administration for the project, CNS Consultants for $240,000. And again, this is 100% FAA grant funded.
Okay, do I have a motion to bring that to the floor? Motion by Ms. Hogan, second by Mr. McGowan. Any discussion?
Mr.
McGowan?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, sorry.
Go ahead. You now have the floor.
You know, I see the need for this because you know, you read in the paper for over the last couple of years all the problems that the town of Monroe had in their building because there was no oversight, and it's a huge responsibility along with a liability. So again, I think it's pricey, but it's well needed, and since it's covered under the FHA, I don't have a problem with this.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item.
All right, thank you. Next item has to do with the FAA grant for our project for design for an airfield taxiway lighting system. And number 3 is to establish a capital project for that, $49,500, 100% FAA funded.
Okay, do I have a motion to bring that to the floor? Motion by Mr. Bruno, second by Mr. McGowan. Discussion. Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item, Mr. DeGraw.
Okay, and finally, number 4 is the engineering contract for that project for Jacobs Engineering, $49,500, 100% FAA funded.
Okay. Motion to bring that to the floor. Mr. Bruno, second by Mr. McGowan. Discussion. Mr. Bruno?
No.
No, okay. Seeing no discussion, hearing no discussion, I will put the motion to the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. DeGraw. I think we're going to go now to Mr. Hajos and Forest Enterprises on the discussion items.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
So I guess I want to kind of take a little step back of how we got to where we're at now, and then I'll get into the discussion on Forest Enterprises. So way back when, I think it was 2014-15, we went to eminent domain at the airport, and we took property related to some tree clearing and such on airport property. I think and Don, correct me if I'm wrong, the amount of acreage that we purchased was maybe 3 to 4 acres. Four, and then there was also some navigation easements to go along with it. The purchase of the property, and again, I'll have Don jump in, was approximately $305,000, maybe $307,000.
Correct.
Okay. From that point, Forest Enterprises appealed, and I'll let Mary kind of add into appeal to a higher court, I believe. Judge Mueller, he appealed it, said he wasn't paid enough. He's allowed to do that under the eminent domain proceedings. I believe Judge Mueller here in Warren County had said, based on the appraisal that was done, the new appraisal that was done, that the property was somewhere only worth about $270,000, give or take. And that, basically we were done with it. We weren't going to ask Forest Enterprises to pay us back any more money. He received the original 305, 307, whatever it may have been. I believe he appealed it, Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, to a lower court. He didn't, to a higher court, I guess. Okay, so he appealed it to a higher court, and they ruled in his favor, which we brought to committee a couple months back, with their appraiser, that he should be receiving now $193,000 more on top of the 307, give or take. Also within that appeal and through the eminent domain law, I believe there's a section in there that allows him to allows Forest Enterprises to recoup all their lawyers' fees, interest fees, appraisal fees. So we received a letter from Forest Enterprise attorney that basically has now asked for $276,000 more for the attorney fees, appraisal fees, and interest fees. So that's where we're at this point. Don and I have both reached out to FAA. We originally reached out to them for the $193,000 that he was awarded above our original price, just to see if they would reimburse us for that. Of course, with the pandemic, There's very few individuals in the office here locally, and then they've been passing it on to Washington, D.C., and we just haven't gotten a confirmation from them yet. I don't know, Don, you can jump on. Have you asked Suki locally here if this extra money, depending on which way we go, would be reimbursed for that?
Well, we're just trying to get a feel right now of if this is eligible, and she's aware of the $193,000 plus additional costs. We haven't told her what those additional costs are yet, but right now she's waiting for some guidance back from Washington. But I will continue to work with her and pursue this actively to try to get reimbursed for this cost, whatever it ends up being.
So, based on that,
go ahead. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Based on that, we're at the point now of where do we go from here? Whether we negotiate, whether we fight this in court. I know he still is awarded the $193,000, and I don't believe there's any changing in that. But whether or not and I think I'll let Mary talk to this, but I believe there's two things that Forest Enterprises attorney must prove. And I will kind of turn that over to Mary if she wants to.
Okay. Before I turn it over to Mary, I just want to, you did a good job there, Kevin, recapping. Just for those new board members, in 2014, we took this man's land through eminent domain over strong objections from a few supervisors like myself and others. We put the cart before the horse. We took a man's land through eminent domain. The FAA hadn't even authorized the extension of the roadway. Obviously, it was a very bad move by the county and ill-advised, to say the least. And now the money is starting to pile up, just as we predicted, that there would be additional cost if we ever lost, and we have lost. So now we're looking at an additional $463,000, which includes the attorney fees, the additional cost of the land that the appellate court decided, as well as interest and so forth. So this is almost $500,000 really due to our screw up, the county screw up. And it galls me that we make these decisions, but this is where we are. This is what we have. So now we have to decide what's the best course of action for the county, both financially and ethically. And I have some ideas, but I'm not going to share them yet because I'm going to let us all discuss this. And I'm going to turn this over to Mary now. So Mary, go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. I would strongly suggest going into executive session because based on whatever decision you make, if we discuss it in open session, it could put the plaintiff at an advantage, knowing what our legal analysis is.
Since this is only one individual and no one else is involved, I'm not sure we have to go into executive session here. I'm not sure the law states that we have to. We can discuss options, and I think that's fairly transparent. But I will, I'll refer this to the committee. Do you want to go in executive session? I think transparency and discussing options doesn't weaken our position. In fact, I would conclude it maybe strengthens it, showing that we want to negotiate in good faith. But I will leave it to the committee. Does the committee want to go in executive session? Please say aye. If not, say no. So aye first. Who wants to go in executive session? Mr. Conover does. Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
I'm going to go with no.
Okay. Who else? Ms. Hogan?
Yes.
Okay. Who else do we have? Mr. Diamond?
No.
And Mr. Beatty? No. So we have 4 yeses to go in executive session, 3 noes. So I will call that we go into executive session to specifically talk about the negotiations with Forest Enterprise. Is that correct, Mary?
We're going into executive session to discuss pending litigation.
Pending litigation. Thank you very much for the terminology. Okay, so Tammy, can you put us into executive session? Amanda?
Working on it right now.
Thank you very much. You ladies are always on top of your game.
You really can't do much with it. I mean, it's not even developed. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. He told me, goes, I asked him, if you make a compromise, and I was new on it. I was that's it, Jim. This was, adjustments and concessions.
Okay, I got the high sign from Amanda. We're now back in open session. There was no action taken by the committee in the executive session. So we'll continue with our agenda, and we're going to go fairly quickly because we now are over a few minutes. I apologize. That was a very needed executive session. Okay, the last thing on the airport budget, Mr. Hajos. Well, the airport budget review, we have reviewed that before, but go ahead. Did you have any comments, Mr. Hajos?
I don't. You all have, I think there was a budget packet that was, did you hand those out? Did they all get the budget packet?
The budget packet is with the DPW agenda. You want me to hand them out right now? Or?
It can go for county facilities as well. I made enough copies. Basically, the bottom line is under the airport, we've reduced it, the budget this year by approximately 4.5%, $27,000. But also keep in mind that the revenues have been reduced as well. Mainly, I think is because their restaurant is not operating, and we don't know what the operations will be going into 2021. So again, we have reduced the budget by approximately 4.5%, and that comes out to about $27,000.
Is there any comments or discussion on that, Mr. Moore?
Yeah, Kevin, I can't see it on the version of the budget that's online, but what is the amount that's in the transfer line right now?
For the transfers to capital projects?
Right, for 2021 budget.
I think it's $15,000 right now.
Okay, 15,000. All right, thanks.
And I don't know, did Betsy get back on?
Yes. Yeah.
Betsy, is that correct? The transfer to capital projects for 5610 was $15,800?
Yes, correct. The local match for the airport next year.
Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion on the airport review budget? Okay, seeing none, just referral and pending items. Go ahead, Kevin.
This is, again, the committee's authorizing RFP to pursue the solar. I'll let Don kind of give an update of where we're at right now.
Thank you. Well, we currently have a draft RFP ready to go. The county attorney is just tweaking some of the insurance requirements on it. And we also have a draft agreement ready for any of the committee members that want to take a look at it. Again, it's in a very rough draft form. The final result will come out of the RFP. But that's out there if you guys want to look at it. And we're just waiting to get a final letter from the FAA confirming the areas that we've designated as Area 1 and Area 2 for the RFP. So once I get that and everybody's comfortable with the language in the draft RFP, we will put it out on the street. So we're almost there.
Okay, are there any questions from the committee on the draft RFP for the solar? Okay, hearing none. Okay, that will conclude the airport portion. Thank you, Mr. DeGraw.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Don. We'll head over to buildings and grounds. It should be fairly quick. I will turn it right over to either Kevin or Frank.
I'll take it from here. So the first request, number one, is to reclassify a position in buildings and grounds. As I have stated over the last couple of years, I have been rearranging each one of my departments and seeing where I can move things around, where staff can be suited better to do something else. One of the things that I typically had in DPW was under the highway manager's position, there was the fuel systems throughout the county. the fact of the matter is that was probably a significant amount of work on my highway manager, who should be concentrating more on the crews around within the county. So I have an individual who's in the Buildings and Grounds Department that basically has taken over the fuel systems almost in its entirety, except for the billing. The billing still gets done through my engineering department in Warrensburg. But this person maintains all the systems, makes sure that all the requirements that DEC has put on us are met. They've also helped quite a bit of the towns where we may have a fuel system at one of our towns, but the towns also have their own tanks that have to be registered and such. So we've helped them out with that as well, or this person has helped them out. Person is also doing all the key making of the keys and the reconciliation reports. So with that being said, this person right now is a building maintenance mechanic. The building maintenance mechanics do a variety of work within the county, but then I also have within my department senior building maintenance mechanics, and typically those are the ones that have a specialty. Right now I have 2 individuals in the department with that type of specialty, which is one who does HVAC, and kind of our go-to person within the county that does all the HVAC and plumbing work, and then another one within the county that does, he's basically our electrician. So that's his specialty. This person's specialty would basically be doing the fuel systems in its entirety except for the billing. I reviewed this with Civil Service. They have approved it, and I feel that this position, this person should go into this position as a higher position because of the work that's involved.
Amanda, do we need a motion to? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for this. I see Mr. Bruno. Do I have a second? I see Ms. Hogan. Okay, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Next one, Mr. Ajos.
So the next one is just the notice of intent to fill that position, which we just did the reclassification on.
Okay, do I have a motion for that? Motion by Ms. Hogan, second by Mr. McGowan. Discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item.
The next item is I'm looking for authorization for the electrical work to be completed on a new OES facility. As you know, we put it out to bid. We basically put it out for bid for the shell of the building, which included the building itself, the concrete floor. We have since completed all the paving around the building, which you'll see in the back of your agenda, photos of that. This portion will be done in-house, and it's, I believe it came through, I'm sorry, I need to correct me, what committee did this get referred from yesterday?
OES.
Oh, yeah, public safety.
So public safety had referred this to us to do. We gave an estimate to Mr. LaFleur, who brought it yesterday, about $6,000 to do the electrical work. This would involve basically running conduit, running wire, putting in electrical lights throughout the facility, as well as outlets throughout the facility. Nothing more than that. And that's just for the material. We would do all the work in-house. So we had originally put in this capital project $450,000 for what we sold the Merck building to Perkins for. We used the project cost was $379,000. We did have a slight change order to move some plumbing, or I'm sorry, some stormwater out there with the contractor, which was about $2,500. And this would just add about $6,000 out of that capital project to do the electrical work for the building.
Okay, do I have a motion to bring it to the floor? Motion by Mr. McGowan, a second. Mr. Bruno, discussion on this?
Now, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. McGowan.
I just want to say those are some numbers that are appeasing to my ears.
Palatable. Okay, we don't have a $34,000 bathroom. All right. Yeah. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item, Mr. Hagios.
Next item is under discussion items, and I just had spoke about the paving that was done around the brand new OES facility. I believe, and I didn't get a chance to stop over there this morning before I came in here, I believe the garage doors were being installed as well. So that's just to tell you where we're at with the OES facility. The next item under discussion items is the charging stations. The last piece of that puzzle we were waiting for was to be reimbursed for all the work that county employees did to run the electrical to all the bases before they were all installed out there. So National Grid has finally come through with the reimbursement, which I think with our labor and the material we spent was approximately $6,000, give or take. So we've been reimbursed by NYSERDA for the charging stations themselves, and then all the ancillary work that went into it, we've also been reimbursed by National Grid for that. So there is no cost to the county.
Thank you. Next item.
The last item I have under discussion items was, I want to touch on this real quick. We have a program at DPW. It's called the Highway Request Program. The Highway Request Program allows us to track when any individual from whether it's a supervisor that calls in or to a citizen in Warren County that says we have a pothole, we have a tree come down, we have guide rail is damaged. We enter it into this program up at DPW, and then it gets passed down through the program in an email to my highway foreman, as well as my highway manager, and then we can keep track of when this work is completed. Some of it becomes a priority work. Others, we may give it time that, we'll get there within a month or something like that. We kind of determine what that priority is. But the system works really well, and it basically kind of tells us how many calls, requests that we have throughout the year on our roadways. We use the same program down at Parks and Recs too, if there's any type of request down there. What I'm requesting, and I work with Jeremy Scrime in the IT department on, is a program for buildings and grounds to do the same thing. Frank Morehouse and his staff get a lot of calls, and it may be passing somebody in the hallway saying, hey, can you fix this? Hey, can you do that? But there's no way of really tracking a lot of the work that happens in buildings and grounds. And on top of that, besides just tracking the amount of work that they do, it's also to make sure that when something gets assigned to someone, that the work gets taken care of. So what I've done is work with Jeremy. What I'd like to do is put this program out to all department heads and have them and maybe one other person in their department assigned to this. I don't know the name of the program that Jeremy uses, but all staff have access to a program that's kind of maybe you know what the name of it is, Tammy, where we can get into phone lists and such.
Oh, the My Warren.
It's a My Warren account. Everybody has ability to get access to this, and this program would come up in there. So either the department head or somebody they assign within their department, some staff member could say, hey, we have a heat problem or we have a toilet problem. They could in turn go into this program and put it in, and it would be sent automatically to Frank or someone in his staff. And then Frank can assign that to who he wants within his staff. So I just wanted to kind of give an update to the committee. I'd really like, with the help of the Board of Supervisors and the county administrator, to really push department heads to use this. Now, if it's an emergency, they're going to call over to Frank and say, hey, we have a significant issue here. But most are not emergencies. It's someone saying, hey, I need my desk fixed or I need a light bulb replaced. Those aren't emergencies, and I'd rather that go through the program so we can track it. So again, I'm wanting to provide the information here to the committee, and I would really like the Board of Supervisors as well as county administrators to kind of push department heads or whoever they assign to use this program from here on out.
Okay, thank you. I think Mr. Moore would be behind that too, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you. The final item, and then I'll just take any questions from the public and so forth, is the discussion of placement of the bricks from the Crime Victims Memorial down in Albany, which are local victims though. And I'm so happy that we're going to do something here up at the Municipal Center. So I know Rachel was working hard on that with Kevin. Can you give us an update?
I can do that. and Supervisor Seaver like to jump in, she can as well. So there's an area out front here of the county center over by this, I guess I want to call it the southwest parking lot right out front here. I believe that's the place where Mike Swan always parks his truck. There's a kind of like an arbor that's out there that covers the walkway. Supervisor Seaver and I, as well as Frank Morehouse, took a look at it last week. We think that would be an ideal location to put these bricks. Frank has one of the bricks. He went out there and took a look at it. These bricks aren't etched very deep. So our concern with, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Supervisor Seaver about this, but our concern with putting it in the walkway, having to keep that walkway clear in the winter months from shoveling, snow blowing, salting for people who park in that parking lot to come over to the county center. I'm concerned about putting them right within the walkway, but on either side of the walkway, we discussed putting in a bench in kind of a mulch bed that maybe, as Supervisor you were alluding to, that the Boy Scouts could do as maybe an Eagle project, or maybe the Girl Scouts could do. And then on the other side of that harbor, we would think about putting the bricks in that area. So they wouldn't necessarily be right in the walkway, but they'd be right on the side of the walkway so that it could be viewed. We would do a nice pattern in there. We're kind of coming up with what it should look like. You know, is it a kidney shape? Is it oval? Is it? So we're looking at that right now. But that would keep them out of the walkway of being damaged, as I said, from snow, ice, salt that we put down. So I'm not sure, Supervisor Seaver, if you wanted to add on anything else to that.
I guess not. So thank you for that update, and we'll continue with that, and eventually we'll get those victim bricks up at the county center. I appreciate the effort on that. Both you and Supervisor Seaver have put in. The last thing is I want to open it up to privilege of the floor. Don Lehman, are there any comments from the public?
Chairman Beatty, not at this point. There is nothing on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Very good. So I will entertain. I apologize for running late, but that was an important discussion with the additional dollars from Forest Enterprises. I will entertain a discussion to. Kevin, did you have something you wanted to add?
I did. We still have to do budget review for facilities as well. We only did the airport. I only put it on one because I figured we would do it for all of them at one time. So I can do a quick rundown of facilities. So again, you all have your summary worksheet in front of you. The bottom line is, if we start at say 1610, which is fleet management, we have a decrease of approximately 11 and a quarter or 11.5%. Under buildings and grounds, we have a decrease in the overall budget of approximately 6.02%. Building number 11, which is the old detention building across the street, we have a decrease of 7.5%. The Health and Human Services building, there's a decrease of 5.25%. And I believe that covers everything under buildings and grounds. If there's any questions on the budget, I'd be happy to answer them. But mainly it was due to reduced salaries, associated costs, and minor contractual decreases as well in each one of those budgets.
Yeah, thank you for Kevin. I forgot to add that we covered it, you and I and the budget director, Mr. Moore, in detail. So I just automatically think that it was covered with other people. Sorry. Any questions on that? Quick recap from Mr. Hajos on the budget. There's some significant decreases, as you noted, of which all departments have been stepping up and doing a great job. And I thank him and his department. No questions, correct, Mr. Lehman, from the public?
Correct. Nothing. No inquiries at this point.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Bruno, second by Mr. McGowan. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Approved. Okay, we're now out of session. Thank you. Sorry for running late.